There are some crazy ass views still held about lupus, showing that a lack of awareness still resides, and this can cause discrimination and stigmas against the people who do have this chronic disease. And if you start Googling what is lupus, you'll find weird questions like, can I get lupus from eating someone's food? Or can I get lupus from sharing clothes? There's even this global awareness survey, and in it I found that 1/3 of all individuals were afraid to share a meal with someone who had lupus, and 47% were also unwilling to shake the hands of someone who has lupus. Okay, this is crazy, people. Lupus is not contagious in any manner, and if it was contagious, sure, run for the hills, because no one wants a chronic autoimmune disease that is not curable. But don't worry. Today I'm going to do some myth busting. We're going to play a game of Mythbusters to bring awareness to the fact of what lupus is versus what it is not. And it's kind of like that game you used to play when you were younger, Truth or Dare. And remember, for girls, we somehow always were freezing our friend's bra during the Truth or Dare. But I have no idea what those boys did. Probably some punching or kicking. So let's play this game along we go with our questions. Okay, question number 1, myth or fact? Lupus is curable. Unfortunately, it is not true. This is a myth. Lupus is not curable. Despite your friends that like to send you these links on Instagram, or they want to connect you to their chiropractor who can heal you, there is no healing to be done because science has not yet determined the ways to delete or turn off lupus. Now, there are periods of remission, and this is when the disease activity is low, symptoms are low. And there's also times where the disease activity is high, and we consider these flares or flare-ups. But no, just like I've finally begun to realize, lupus will be a journey of ups and downs and lefts and rights and some twists and turns, but overall, damn it, it is not curable. Next question is gluten-free the best meal plan to help with lupus? This is a myth as well, because science is yet to prove on this what is the best way to eat. And the answer probably is that there are many different factors that involve what is the best meal plan for the individual based on their needs. Now, paleo and keto and Mediterranean, all of these things have different components. For certain people that may work really well. And maybe there's like some hodgepodge or piecemeal situation that works best here. So what I would tell you to do is, if you have lupus or if your loved one has lupus, work with a registered dietitian. They have the skills to help you determine what is best for you. Certainly if you are becoming fearful of what to eat, or it's causing any stress, or if you read a book by this certain influencer that tells you you must be eating this way, and it stops you from eating healthy, clean produce, no matter if it's not organic and if it's not GMO, then work with a registered dietitian, because in the end, healthy food is the best way you want to go, while you turn away from the ones that are heavily processed with lots of sugar and fat that make them taste good, but they are not good for you. The next question is, or statement is, I will die young from lupus. Myth or fact? Thankfully, this is a myth. Now, sure, decades and decades ago, your lifespan was cut short if you had lupus. And despite what shows like Gossip Girl and House, remember that with that doctor where everything was a lupus consideration? And also, I just read this book, Daisy Jones and the Six, where one of the main characters, sorry, plot giveaway, she died from lupus at the age of 65. Okay, despite all this that we see, 80 to 90% of people who have lupus are going to live a perfectly normal life. Okay, normal means a lot of different things to different people. Sure, those medical conditions are going to make it more challenging and your life is going to look a little bit different, but know overall that your lifespan will not be cut short as a result of lupus. Myth or fact? I will lose a kidney from lupus. Thankfully, again, this is a myth. Although you need to tell your brother to quit drinking that alcohol because you might need his kidney, not from lupus, but maybe from something else in life, just in case. So losing a kidney is what most people think of because they think of Selena Gomez when she had to get a kidney transplant as a result of having lupus nephritis. Now, lupus nephritis is a common-ish complication of having SLE, the most common type of lupus. And the National Institute of Health says that a little bit over 50% of all people with SLE do have this kidney complication called lupus nephritis. And that can, if untreated, lead to the worst case scenario like that of losing a kidney. But for majority of us that do have lupus, your kidney may have some involvement half of the time, but that doesn't mean you're gonna lose that kidney. Keep it close while you can. Okay, lupus is hereditary. True or false? This is a myth. It is not hereditary. You don't get it from your mom or your dad. But there is a genetic component behind it. There's certain gene mutations that we know about and continue to learn about. So you have the genes that make up part of it, but you also have different environmental factors. And what these are can be things like smoking, pesticides in residential or in food. It can be sun exposure. It can be certain illnesses like having COVID or like having Epstein-Barr, like mono. These things come into play. So sometimes you have the genetics, and when this environmental factor or factors are triggered, this is what brings on or out pops lupus, right? But there also are just environmental factors. So you've got 3 different ways where lupus can come up for you. The science is still learning about these different ways that they can be determined, but you just can't blame your mom or your dad just yet. Now, as a mother, right, I have a 5% chance of giving lupus to my children. I know you said that there's no hereditary component, no, but there's some genes behind it. And so that shows that it really sucks for my 22-year-old to end up with lupus when she only had a 5% chance. Those are not gambling odds. All right, yoga has been found to be the best way of adding exercise into your lupus management plan. This is a myth because it is not the best. Sure, it may be awesome and I may be a yoga instructor and I am very biased towards it, but it doesn't mean there's one way to do it. More than anything, we want some type of movement in your day because it really hurts those joints and the inflammation to just sit around. And I know that it's hard, but finding a way that adding movement in that works for you, whether that be walking, whether that be lifting up your legs or twisting your body or getting out where you're sitting in the space for a set period of time. Movement is very important, but the myth behind yoga being the best for it is not the answer. All right, the very last one, myth or fact. You can control your lupus. I'm gonna give you half credit no matter what you said, because the reality is there are certain components of lupus that you can control, and they pertain to your health. They pertain to your spirituality, your lifestyle choices, how you eat, how you move your body, how you deal with the stress. So many factors come under being what's in our control. Even when it comes to the idea of flares, you can learn through awareness, through tracking, what your triggers are for a flare. And then you begin to work on those. Like if a lack of sleep is something that makes you go into a flare, then you learn to control, you have good sleep hygiene and control those factors. But there's many different parts of lupus that sucks. And it seems to come on randomly with organ involvements, a whole host of different factors. So there's part of it that you can control, and you should, because that's a big part of it. And those affect the overall health of the body, the health of the mind, but not all of it is there. So in closing, my friends, hopefully you learned a little bit more about what lupus is like. So don't be afraid to hug someone who has lupus, share their turkey sandwich that is eaten on non-gluten-free bread, go on a walk with someone, and also know that there's things that you can have within your control. Feel free, comment below if there's something that resonated with you. knowing that lupus isn't contagious, maybe being one of them, and then follow along with this video by liking it. Take care.